Welcome back, everyone, to VALORANT Challengers North America Mid-Season Cup. We have one team making their way onto the semifinals, MXS taking that win. Time to find out who they're going to be facing off against, as we have OXG going up against QOR next. When we're looking back at these teams, Jen, I mean, this one's going to be a lot of fun because both of these teams definitely shown they have what it takes to win. And when we're looking at these teams, this is something we're a little bit more familiar with since we have no changes since we last seen them.
Yeah, and I casted QOR yesterday and I just saw how hungry they were for wins, but especially for this rematch in particular. This is how they concluded their regular season, with QOR having a huge upset over OXG, who OXG were the big favorites in their group. They were highest in the standings. QOR were in the middle of the pack, and this went all the way to the game decider 3. And it was just cool to see QOR step up, and OXG, you know, who has been such a problematic team against the top dogs in the rest of the region, but somehow still struggle against QOR.
Yeah, I mean, this is an OXG team. I mean, we were talking about Moist earlier. Another team, OXG, who really grinded it out in the offseason. They got their roster together early. They locked in their pieces. They had everything fleshed out. And they started getting these online and LAN experiences. You know, they went to the For Those Who Dare, the Tarek Invitational, the Sean Garris event, and they won all 3, right? And these guys were on a tear. They look like the heavy favorites coming into the season, especially in their group. And then they seemed to stumble a little bit. You know, early loss early on to Moist, who finally were able to overtake them after their roster change right before that. And then, you know, good couple wins, Thinking Men, Fluffy Gamers, and YFP, but then matched up against QOR, the team they're playing tonight, at the end of the season, and got taken down 2-1. And it's something where, you know, OXG just looked a little out of their element. For some reason, they looked a little uncoordinated. Some really underwhelming individual performances, such as Mitch only getting 4 kills on Ascent. So it'll be interesting to see this matchup. Is this an OXG who may have met their match in the form of T-Dog's QOR, or is this something where they're going to take that to the chin, hit the drawing board, figure out what went wrong, and come back with a vengeance for this matchup here?
Especially since for OXG, this is an OXG that we haven't seen since week 5, whereas for QOR, I mean, they didn't get the buys, so Jen, we did get to see them yesterday, and hey, it was another series that we got to see go out, but there was definitely some pop-off moments, some pop-off players. I want to dive a little bit deeper into that.
Yes, Zeldris was the Jet player to watch yesterday. Holy cow, did he just wreck them. 23 kills on Ascent, 30 kills on Breeze, and this just went the distance against Dobros. Zeldris was the guy to highlight even before this series started, because he has been the duelist to watch, and he's really carried them to a lot of first kills, but mainly just these site entries, just so QOR can actually find their footing on offense, because that's where they really thrive and where OXG have struggled to take them down at.
What Zeldris has been able to do with this team throughout the split has been great. Even looking back at the past performance where they did get the upset over OXG, Zeldris in the final 2 maps, really putting on a clinic. So to be able to see that in yesterday's match, to be kicking things off Psycho, has me really excited for not just today's series, but even just Zeldris' future in general. Very bright.
Zeldris is just one of these guys who is a young kid. He's extremely aggressive, and he seems to have no fear. Reminds me a lot of Zekin from XSET and Sentinels. Just this guy who's not afraid to take these fights. He knows he's going to aim better than you. He knows he's going to win the fight. He doesn't care what his HP bar is, what kind of utility he has left. He's going to swing you, and he's going to win. And this is something where, you know, a lot of these players can get in trouble, they can overextend, but with this team, they seem to know how to support him. T-Dog is really enabling him in the system, and putting a lot of pieces and strategies around him to support him and have him be tradable, right? And we saw what kind of damage he can do when he's supported by these teammates.
And the fact that QOR is able to support him so well, I mean, you can see some teams kind of fall apart with these aggressive duelists, not being able to quite back them up. But Zeldris being supported in such a great way. No wonder this was from yesterday's series just alone, Jen, but no wonder that Zeldris is being able to put up the performances he's had.
Yeah, like the KDA is something easy to look at, but the first blood percentage is something to appreciate with Zeldris. And just to kind of reiterate what Psycho has said, is very aggressive. He's the one going forward, clearing things. Sometimes, you know, you live and die by the Zeldris, though. He can be the one who opens up a play and goes for those big plays because he thinks he's confident, sometimes he's overconfident, sometimes he overcooks and can be that first death. So watch out for how Zeldris kind of adjusts that pace and finds that middle ground. And if he is against a better team, how he can be supported, because sometimes he likes to clear things solo as well, because that's just the type of duelist he is. And he had just a crazy Jet show match against Zachary yesterday where they went toe-to-toe. But Zeldris has even tougher competition today.
Well, 100%, because despite how the final standings ended up going down for stage one, especially when we're looking on the end of Oxygen, this was a team since the beginning that has been talked about a lot, Psycho. Going back to even just the off season, what they've been able to put together and some of the performances that they had. A little stumble at the end, I don't think discount what they've been able to show us so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big names on this roster. You know, Dapper, who had so much success back in Sentinels and even did some damage last year with his fellow past teammate Shazam on G2. I mean, this is a guy who's been a stalwart of the Sentinel role. Like he knows the ins and the outs of this role, and especially with the Cypher buff, it's behooved him quite a bit. So, you know, a lot of experience there. Scuba, someone who's been on the come up and talked very highly of by his peers, you know, going way back. And even Mitch, you know, on the original Cloud9 roster with tons of experience. And then you have these two young kids, right? Redux on the Jet, absolute monster. Someone who himself has been talked about as an up-and-comer for quite a while, but finally spreading his wings. And then Verno. Verno is the one who's shocked me the most this year. I mean, as far as initiators go, there's not a lot who really stand out and become superstars overnight. But this Verno guy, man, he is aggressive. He knows how to get these frags. He's someone who will win fights more often than he will lose them, and that's something you need, cleaning up your rounds in the clutch situations.
So when we have a team as well, going back to this, you're talking about all these pieces and why each of these players to be watching out for. We're seeing here, and this was from week 5, Jen, that this was a team that was dismantled by QOR. Does 2-1 victory. We did see a series that went all the way, but this was definitely, when we got to week 5, an upset that not really many people had on their bingo card.
Yeah, like QOR are on a 4-match win streak also after having a wobbly week 1 and 2, and you thought Oxygen were going to be the ones to cut them at the heels at the end of the regular season, but this was such a close series, 13-8, 13-10. Like, you really couldn't tell who was going to come out on this. Oxygen, I think, really struggled on the post plants. Just thinking about Lotus, since that's going to be our first map. Just Seaside was a struggle on the post plant, not reacting well to QOR's floods. They got multi-killed by lurks, and they were sometimes Oxygen playing out of sight while having the spike smoked off and diffused in front of them. Oxygen looked cleaner on defense, and that was much more back and forth. But that point, they just really couldn't shut down QOR, and it ended up being really scrappy on Lotus. And so having a similar map set into this series, you're hoping that Oxygen are kind of gonna react better and at least have the plan downloaded out of QOR.
We've had a little bit of a break since then, so Oxygen, what they've been able to kind of cook up since then, reviewing back on the match after that sort of loss. I'd love to see what changes going on into this series. And with the map picks and bans, that'll be our first look at what's going to be different this time around. Though the first look is that we're doing a run back of our first 2 maps here, Psycho. It's Lotus and Sunset, but Icebox will be the change. Oxygen banned it last time, but they're going to ban where they took that loss the last time around.
Yeah, I mean, I like this from Oxygen. You know, they said, look, you know, we got beat out, we got edged out here, but we're still going to lean into the Sunset pick where we actually took you guys out, and, you know, letting it go down to Icebox, a little bit of a different spice there at the end. But, you know, I think that the onus is going to be on them to try and close it out 2-0 with this initial Lotus win, right? If they can take out Lotus and cut them at the knees here, then going into Sunset, it should be smooth sailing for Oxygen.
And I'm looking forward to the trap plays out of QOR. I really enjoyed what they did on Sunset. Really, I know we were hyping up Zeldris, but I think Nerve is also one of the best players on this QOR team, just in terms of mechanics, but also the fight planning around his paranoias. And you saw Oxygen on Sunset start to be able to adapt and react and punish QOR on these setups that they kept being successful on. So Oxygen were countering eventually, but then it really just came down to gunplay and Oxygen not having these crazy standout performances. It would come down to 2v2s, 1v1s, and Oxygen scraping by rounds just based off of the first bloods that they have. So you're hoping Oxygen can have a more a standout, a mechanical performance, so that it doesn't come down to these very stressful decision-making last-minute calls.
What I'm looking for in this series as well is right away for these duelists, these raises on each end, these young stars to be able to pop off. Because last time the Lotus was a little bit of a slow start for both of our raises, being, of course, Zeldris and Redux. So I'm curious if one of them starts to get a lead over to kick things off, Psycho, if all of a sudden things can kind of be really heavily swung from where we saw this go down last time.
Yeah, I agree. Redux in particular really struggled on Lotus in their last matchup against QOR. I mean, only putting up 12 kills. I mean, it's a tough mountain to climb. When your main climber, your steam engine in the back isn't getting it done right, and it's a tough job for a young kid. But Redux has got a lot of experience at this point. I mean, he should be the more experienced out of the two duelists, and this is an opportunity for him to really step up for his team here on Lotus.
All right, well, it's time to head over to our agent select here for our first map of Lotus. Start getting underway with the series. Since they did play on this quite recently, curious with the agent select what we'll see, but that is going to be a big change coming out from Oxygen. Scuba is going for the Clove here, Psycho.
Wow, I freaking love this, man. I've been waiting to see a Clove matchup on the desk for a long time, and Scuba's the guy to do it, man. I mean, this guy, his aim is phenomenal, and really Clove is, you're losing a little bit of your utility belt as a controller for your team, but you're making up for it as long as you can hit your shots. It's kind of a similar trade-off when you're putting your duelist on Reyna, right? She could be an absolute menace if you're on. If you're off, she can be an absolute liability, and I see a lot of that in Clove. But Scuba's the guy to make it happen. Excited to see how that might play out here.
I was just about to say I'm so excited for the Scuba Nerve Omen matchup because they were top fragging on Lotus and they were making the big plays, and I had just finished saying the Oxygen struggle in the post plants. Well, guess what? Clove may just help because you can play smokes while you're dead, so now you don't have to worry about if you die on post play, you can still be involved. So this will be my first time watching some Clove and pro play here, especially in Challenger, so let's get it.
I love this. QOR sticking to the same old Oxygen, changing up everything, and I cannot wait to get started. I want to know what the casters think ahead of this first match. So time to head back over to Gompers and Wyatt.
I have a lot of mixed emotions.
Yeah, me personally,
and I'll be honest.
I expected it. Definitely.
Did you actually?
I knew that was coming.
I didn't even know what I was supposed to be expecting. I didn't think it was Clove. I didn't think we were at that point yet.
Yeah, no, that is crazy, and I'm really excited to watch this match. We have QOR playing the same thing that they did against Oxygen when they beat them last time, with T-Dog playing the Sova, which is not a common pick on this map. Definitely not a huge fan of it myself, but credit to him, he made it work last time with his own unique take on it and play style, which I appreciate. QOR as well, bringing something unique and their own play style to this with the Clove and with the Gecko Breach as well. I'm interested to see how this whole operation is going to work. They're stacked up outside of A right now to fight for early control towards Rubble, an aspect of Lotus that we're going to see a whole lot.
Yeah, already nade being set out. So with Clove being the controller now, I'm kind of curious to see how Oxygen are going to use these moments to give themselves some sort of advantage. So already dissipating there, not knowing that there's so much util just waiting around the corner.
They really dumped a lot of util early to get this space over on A. Cutting noise now. Well, Dapper watches the flank, pressure towards door. This is so awkward for Zeldris. Ends up running into all of the players, and Redux wins the duel on his zip as well. T-Dog backside with a lot of pressure on him.
Already so much going, already popping up behind though with Scuba. Looking for more intel going up top. Nerve peeking around the corner. Seems as though might not be able to make any workaround for that Nerve. Trying to create some sort of pushback, but a 1v2 scenario.
Has the paranoia at least.
Oh, he's gonna use it. Oh my gosh, with the timing. They're just playing with their feelings at this point. The smoke, the only thing that might just be able to keep this game alive.
Y'all want to stop this? Anybody? Okay. Oh my god. Getting worrisome for a second there that they weren't going to be able to get that kill, but Oxygen run away with the pistol round, catching Zeldris, the far and away star player for the QOR team, really off guard door. Was trying to make a play happen, did not expect to run into 3. Almost caught that timing, but well handled from Oxygen. They get the early advantage here. A couple sheriffs in the hands of QOR, trying to see if they can upset one of the heavy favorites going into this season, but a team that I don't think really lived up to their expectations in the regular season, taking 2 losses.
Slow workaround, moving up towards C, though. And nobody's there. So even with all this util, it's just been thrown out in the open for a retake possibility for QOR. And yeah, they're going to hear just now. And that rotation's going to come in quick.
Yeah, just going for the straight-up gamble here. Now just going to make their way to try and do some damage. And this QOR team, for me, given they beat Oxygen at the end of the season, was definitely having some raised expectations for them going into the mid-season playoffs. They were able to get that first 2-1 win yesterday against the team formerly known as the Glazers. But it was pretty close. That time just going to expire on the spike.
Spraying it down. Not able to find much. QOR did a good job, though, at, I mean, kind of eliminating the majority off of Oxygen at that. But overall, definitely, yeah, a lot more to fight for.
Crucially able to recover that rifle at the very last second. So they're going to have a strong buy here on their bonus round. 4 rifles, 1 stinger for Redux, but don't really think he cares too much about that. Probably just going to try to double blast back right into someone's face on this B site here. It looks like there's going to be a fast hit. Smokes down for Heaven and Main. So the rest of QOR there, or rather, not the rest of, the entirety of QOR are over towards the A side.
They're continuing to push forward. The B site completely taken up by the side of Oxygen. And a slow workaround from Ziff, but Ziff, even then, okay, finds a perfect shot off of Redux and does back off. So there is a lot of discipline when it comes down to this play, but they know exactly where the wraparound's going to happen. Even then, Dapper, beautiful shots coming down towards doors. You know, Scuba trying to fight off Ziff, but Ziff absolutely tremendous with the shots. But even then, both players still needing to try to find something else. And regardless, super, super low on Ziff to try to fight this out. Yeah, Vern was going to be the one to pick the fight up. Maybe clean things off. Oxygen not suffering too much in a round like this one. I mean, they're pretty well positioned for the post plan, and especially taking out Nerve. That 3-0 goes perfectly in their hands.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Nerve's on QOR, but it's Oxygen that we're getting super active in the post plan there on B.
This goes here.
Oh, pushing all the way down into Waterfall, just trying to chase this kill. They get so much space. And that's really, obviously, that spray down from Dapper is just going to be the round-winning play there at the end of things.
Yes, this should do.
Huge snowball already. And when you have that Gecko, you're just the orb harvester. Already has the Thrash online because of all those plants.
Oh, the silence. Keeping themselves slightly distanced away. But also super, super quiet. And I guess here might be the reason why not having the Killjoy on the A site might be detrimental. But even then, a great hold off with the paint shell alone. So they did manage to push back, although unfortunately enough, Treat completely left for the taking.
Redux one off getting that showstopper online as well.
Big decision making. Dude, Zeldris is just trying to avoid dying, jumping every single angle that they can. But even now, just looking for a victory coming through. QOR are not going to have it. Scuba luckily getting away, and man, I mean, having Clove get put into the game is so far been looking absolutely amazing.
Scuba's been playing super aggro. A player that, frankly, in my mind, should have been on a tier 1 team at some point in his career by now. Has been mega consistent for years. A great fragging controller, always has been. Right now, though, Oxygen, they look like they're playing with a vengeance. They are making no mistakes, and every little piece of utility that they can expend is being used. Like that flash satchel play for Redux just to get into pit and get a kill was just evidence of how solid they are right now and how focused up that they are.
They're just waiting. Watching like a hawk with a yacht. I guess, again, the big thing about having that fault line, come through, just leaves Zeldris pushed back, and this is perfect. They don't even know the off is there, but even then, they've done a tremendous job at just keeping themselves alive for the time being.
Yeah, a couple tags there from T-Dog's ultimate. It's a little bit of info. Redux getting the space on C. The rest of the team trying to follow up on that. A little bit trailing behind, but with the smokes down, they should be able to get this plant set up for post. Thrash coming in as well to push deep into halls.
Just continuing along, but Zeldris holding things down with the yacht. Looking to make a shot happen. Doesn't seem like it will, though. Fault line set down, and Zeldris within the smoke, helping and assisting with the defense. Core finally having the chance to put themselves back up on the board. How long is that going to last them, especially now with the defusal coming through? Mitch is making the work happen, and the shots are fired. 1v2 scenario where the advantage was put down onto Core, and it seems like maybe not anymore. Oxygen have won themselves another round.
Tapper finds a really good late flank timing as well. Worked his way through B, through Waterfall. Had a nice angle on the spike. Oxygen are on fire right now. This is the team that you expect to see when you read the name Oxygen on the match card. This is the team that you expected to be a top contender to make it into the partnership league this year. They were so dominant in the offseason, beating partnership teams, consistently beating the other top challengers teams, winning those, secondary tournaments. And then during this season, it was all right. They had a couple dominant games, but they lost to MXS week 1. They lose to Core week 5, where, frankly, they were not looking anything like the Oxygen that we know. But they are looking right back into tip-top shape. And so far, the Clove has been pretty fun to watch, and I think the Clove has the whatever it's called. I'm not dead yet, or whatever the ult is called. I forget. Listen, when you see a Clove for the first time, I have no. Do you know what the ability names are? Because I think it's I'm not dead yet. I think that's the ult. I remember this happened like the first time.
It is not dead yet. Deadlock
as well. What the hell are these goddamn abilities called? Who sees a deadlock?
They get longer and longer with every release. The names, but oh my gosh, the crouch walking. It has me on a chokehold. I'm just waiting for Zeldris to peek the angle, but nobody's there, so they're pretty safe.
You'll be waiting a long time.
Yeah, they are safe for now.
Just a pure contact into B that is going to result in an absolutely free sight. Most of the time, when the defenders are on eco, not usually a lot of emphasis towards B. Usually going to be stacked up on one of the extremity sites. Ooh, it's almost a great first kill. Things getting really scary. That's 2 rifles down. And they're going to be able to recover them as well, given the positioning of Oxygen being so heaven favored.
Gun here.
This is trying to make magic happen, honestly, and that they will do. But TP within the smoke. They've heard the noise. For those of you who don't know, Redux is young, a very, very young player with absolutely incredible cracked aim, and I guess it makes sense as to why.
And
but man,
yeah, that is also the Redux that partnership teams are looking at and wanting to sign.
Yep.
That in pretty shocking fashion was duelist diffed by Zeldris in that week 5 when Core got the win over Oxygen. Zeldris was going insane in that series, and Redux just couldn't catch up, which was really shocking. And Zeldris has definitely had a breakout season, but you really expect Redux to be, you know, one of those top-tier duelists that we have in Challengers. I mean, he's proved that he is.
Oh. Redux. Wow. One out. An incredible 1v1 against Gnarly, but Sif is still watching.
I know exactly.
I mean, some sort of refrag potential coming through there, but Rolling Thunder moved past it. They did see nerfs, so Scuba's lucky enough to be able to find one.
One enemy remaining.
They do get away in time. So regardless, it kind of feels, it has like a Reyna feel to it. You know, when you're watching the, like a Reyna Omen, such a weird agent.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. He gets that kill and is able to just heal up, get the, you know, pseudo stimmy boost from a brim where you're just running around all fast. The Clove is looking pretty sick so far, but frankly, all of Oxygen are hitting right now. They are not playing around right now in their mid-season playoffs debut game. Keep in mind, this is Core's map pick, too. And what I really liked about Oxygen there on that site exec is that second layer of util that came in. There was the initial entry from Redux, double satcheling, getting some space, and then once it felt like Core were going to contest, that Rolling Thunder comes in next, catches the player in halls, catches Nerve here, who's forced into an awkward spot, gives Scuba such an easy duel to take, a simple kill to find. And again, for what feels like the 20th time already, Core's economy is flattened.
This is pretty difficult to come back with, especially now Scuba has the ultimate, not dead yet. So when that gets pulled through, potential to bring this back. Or I guess if Oxygen are ever put in an uncomfortable position, they can honestly redeem themselves here. It seems like pushed back far enough to the point where they're not giving themselves away too much.
Yeah, definitely some aggro options with the Clove ultimate. Can just run it down into the site, try and take a duel, get some info. Kind of like how you would with a Phoenix ultimate, frankly, and then bring yourself back to life and go run it down again and try to find that kill. Redux is in super deep with double satchel here, getting space on B. Gonna be a full retake situation.
No. And a great spray transfer already picked up, and a headshot at that. Dude, they put the perfect player on this agent too. And it's crazy. Like Scuba top fragging and honestly just feeling so good with everything that's been given to them so far. I mean, wide swings, peeking forward. They're able to isolate every single fight that just leads to this. And now it's Mitch finding another. It's amazing for a team like Oxygen to pull through with these numbers right now.
As if relegated to a save. I mean, you're absolutely right. Scuba is the man to put on Clove for sure. Has always been such a crisp aimer. Back even playing 4 Knights on the Omen role or Astra. Have so many maps that I remember watching where he was able to just top frag, carry the team. Super talented, so I really do like this experiment. This is the first time that I've seen a Clove in a pro game, and right now it is working out nicely. 9-2, topping the scoreboard. My man Dapper hasn't died yet. How is that even? How does that happen? We're 8 rounds in.
7 kills.
Just infinite KD.
Oh my gosh. Dude, they're just on a roll, honestly. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I think their ultimates definitely outweigh... overall, I would say, like, just the importance of them. And I guess what they can do overweighs what Core has. left in their pockets right now, but still so many players left over on A. And of course, the Hunter's Fury trying to do some sort of damage or even then just pushback, but it doesn't seem like it's doing that. Can't seem to find anybody. And again, Scuba still left alive. Let's not forget the ultimate is there, and they have brought themselves back to life. Potential to keep themselves in the game. High Oxygen are just not ready to go, and it's up to Scuba to try to get some sort of flank potential down, but they get taken out, and QOR have found themselves that first round to put on the board. If they can take out Dapper at this point, they know exactly where they are.
Does Dapper just run away to keep 0 deaths? Or does he go for it? Or does he win and keep 0 deaths? I guess that's possible too.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, 30 seconds is more than enough time. And you try to push yourself to fight a 1v3, is it really though? They're all kind of corner themselves onto site. The contact hold is immense, and yeah, first round on the board for QOR.
A good try. Also a situation where I want to say for the first time, maybe I just didn't notice it before, but Clove post-mortem smoke becomes very relevant. Able to isolate, I believe that was Nerve in the smoke, and then try and just bait out one of the other 1v1s. Take away one of those angles. It's definitely one of the major upsides of having a Clove as your controller agent. Having access to the smokes post-death is pretty sick.
Turret out.
We've been just heavily relying on the util alone to keep the A site. But yeah, Sif hears the noise, and you can already see T-Dog trying to respond. Push themselves into the action there.
Not actually pushing into tree, getting control, but QOR don't know as much. They could be in there, and now pressure coming through baby door as well. Dapper trying to take a fight in main. This is getting awkward for Oxygen. So now caught in a situation of no matter which site they hit, they're going to be walking into a crossfire setup.
Oh, and that's perfectly placed. Eldris, dude, had such a good position, but still tons of damage made. Tons of util put into the mid-side hole, but the flank is huge. I mean, Verno kind of catches on to it, but there's 2 players there, and Mage is going to use an aftershock to try to push this back, but it doesn't seem like it's going to work regardless. Nerve now waiting for their team to give into the sandwich so that they could preoccupy some of the space there, but it's taking too long, and there's too much pressure just being applied onto site, especially with Scuba coming around in the flank. It's nothing that you can do. Oxygen on a roll here.
That was a great late flank from Scuba there, but gotta talk about the entries. I mean, that util dump was so good. The Dizzy coming in over top with the breach flash, it just kind of separated that player in heaven just a bit right there in that moment, which allowed a clean fight on that player in sight, and then their focus could go back towards heaven on the re-swing. Really well executed, especially for, you know, given how awkward that situation was for Oxygen, with 2 players set up on B to fight them, 2 players set up on A to fight them. I mean, you said it, they're on a roll right now.
All they have to do is work up onto site, but they have smoked off 50% of it. Honestly, kind of creating a pathway for Redux to have to clear now, making it 10 times harder. How well is that going to work out, though? Especially now up top, Mitch finding one of their own. But it's T-Dog down. They have absolutely no information to play into this round other than Scuba getting shots through the smoke and somehow still keeping this team alive. Dude, Oxygen are just like not playing around when it comes down to this map.
QOR have had so many bad buy rounds that have allowed this massive snowball for Oxygen. Finally, for the last one, they're going to be able to get a full buy here. But at this point, it is too little too late. And I almost wonder there if Tito got caught out because you never play against a Globe and the smoke timing is a little different. Thought he had that extra 1 second to fire the dart and then back off. I mean, probably not, but listen, it's possible because the Globe smokes are just a little bit shorter than everyone else. or you know, Omen at least, which is typically on this map.
Yeah. Dude, there's... Oh my gosh. And this is a strat. Like, I like it.
I mean, the damage, guys, get out of the way. God damn, they're still trying to walk up. All those players are so weak.
Dude, they're
So,
like...
my brother, we are just going. I mean, listen, when they're down 10-1, I get it. You're taking risks, you're sending it, but
so many other ways. There's so many. There's another path. There's another path.
Well, there's 4 Odins, excuse me, spamming. It's somewhat dangerous. Mild amounts of danger.
Oh my gosh. I honestly give them so much respect for pushing through. Honestly, they've only lost 1, and I'm still like, it's crazy how that works out, but now they might just be able to keep the defense. I think T-Dog's in a great position. I was just about to say, they're in such a good position, but they just flashed themselves out. Oh my gosh, dude, the Q tool that Oxygen have just been putting out, it feels like there's nothing that you can do.
It's really overwhelming, especially compared to the utility that QOR have. Their one initiator is the Sova. They have no flashes to try and burst back into areas, which makes it really tough. I mean, you know, they have just the paranoia for that, but it makes it so tough.
Remaining.
And the crossfires are just perfect.
Switching sides.
It's just so hard. Like, I think Kaskuba's playing like they're playing Reyna, and then you got Redux who just like literally will not let anybody slide. And then Mitch and Bruno are just wreaking havoc on the sites. Like, there's not a lot that you can do.
Last time these teams played, Mitch had a really tough series as well. I think overall was like around -25 over the 3 maps.
Oh, this is a nice.
But right now is playing extremely well on the breach, finding good kills late round, and also just the utility that's been a part of the execs has been really crucial. We'll see if QOR can give us a fake comeback, because ain't no way. there's no way they win this game, surely.
Dude, the door opening just gives me so much anxiety. I can't even imagine what it's like. And they're just playing around with it like it's a game, going back and forth, trying to see what they can do on the pistol round. But now, especially working themselves the extra mile to try to get on site.
It was a really.
Seems like everybody rotating with them. Yeah.
Yeah, because of that re-clear on C, they've stacked up here on in time.
Okay, Aftershock still readily available. I mean, there it goes. Dapper is able to take one off Snarly. Everybody else looking to make something happen. Paranoia set down, and that does give some leeway to move onto the site, but T-Dog with a 2K. Looking tremendous so far, but you still got Scuba, Verno, and Redux left alive. I don't even like picking off the fights one by one. The isolation, great there, but then again, they do have to get that defusal. I don't think it's going to be easy, especially with the amount of space that has not been taken up yet. And now especially a 1v3 scenario that Verno has to figure out a way to clutch that. Honestly, just feels impossible at this point with the time. But yeah, second round on the board for QOR. Exactly what they needed to keep that momentum going.
Verno gets at least one more just to inch a bit closer to the thrash. Clinical shots from T-Dog, though, stepping up for them on that pistol round. On that unorthodox Sova pick. Oxygen just really not having the spacing to be able to trade on a T-Dog cleanly. So he's just able to take a couple honest duels that he wins out. Verno's going to buy up a Sheriff here, but actually Scuba will as well. Classics for the rest of them, though.
Revealing area. Found them.
Gotten a reveal. So much util I mean, not really necessarily a lot, but some expended over towards Seaside, where Oxygen are just honestly chilling. Like 11-2, they're pretty comfortable where they're at right now. I don't feel as though there is a lot to worry about. Just looking for some sort of starting pick to get things rolling.
They've rotated pretty fast to A again. There's a commitment from Core. They're stacked up to fight, but Core doing the correct thing, making some noise, pulling off. They got space elsewhere on the map. And now they're going to be able to get the C site for free. Just a good job working around and making sure that they get to an open site here.
Revealing area. Right here.
Trying to find the space over towards C, and that they will. And this is great. They have so much time to set up. I mean, if anything, they should be feeling pretty perfect regardless, especially with the weapons that they have in their arsenal. But I think Mitch has a pretty good opportunity to give something away here, especially with the amount of util that they just have pocketed.
Yeah, Oxygen, you know, they're just going to take what they can get, see if they can't farm a couple kills here, get a couple more orbs. They've already been trying to claim a couple of those when they can. And Ziff, you're about to get ran over. I hate to say it.
That they will. That they did. And so did everybody else. But yeah, not too worried about that round.
Now we're gonna get the buy now from Oxygen. T-Dog has the spike on him right now and is 2 orbs away from getting the Hunter's Fury ready to go in this round to perhaps build a crumb of momentum here for Core. We're still at a dreadfully hopeless scoreline at the moment. We're far away from becoming believers in this game.
One of these.
Oh, huge setup though. Info gather, eh? They still prioritize B. Then again, some Cypher util preoccupying that space. They do manage to catch it out there with the drone alone, but so many players already redirecting themselves in a 1v1. Snarly just looking for somebody to take out. Doesn't seem like it's going to work. They've already lost their Sova off of Core, though.
Yeah, somehow went down to an aftershock, almost lining up there. A couple players. Nice supporting flash for Verno. Yeah, either going to need some help or going to need to get out. And the second is the option that he chose. Going to play it just a little bit safer.
Feeling confident walking up, down, and C. But the cam placement, I feel, is just going to give this away so quickly. Hope they're not going to repetitively watch that, and they definitely heard it. Huge takeaway. So now, yeah, they have to force a rotation at this point. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, Scuba does have one smoke for this. Mitch has a fault line. Oh, but a great first kill from Snarly. I mean, the other thing working in their favor is that Zeldris and Nerve are quite low on HP. But Dapper trying to get cheeky and find that early little pick may have just thrown them off from their ability to retake here. They're going to try.
Zeldris on standby. Oh, this is so perfect. But they'd hit that shot, might have just been able to take out Verno as well. They do find some sort of corner to back off, but Oxygen struggling just a little bit on the defense, which could bite them back, especially as we reach into that 5th round for Core.
Relegated to the eco now, our Oxygen. Still not a believer. we need more than this to become believers. But at the moment, Core are taking advantage of the fact that Oxygen are really heavy rotating towards A and leaving that C site exposed. That's the second time they were able to do so. In a row, in fact.
They've placed wall, but this is such a good read off Core. If they find out A is clear, this could pretty much be their round, but Scuba's looking to give some smokes away, especially with noise being made over towards A.
playing it silent for the most part, except for those stray bullets. Nice crouch peek from Snarly. Redux not ready for that. Crosshair trained a little bit high and didn't even get a shot off. Great reaction time.
Dude, an Oxygen just...
Scanning ahead.
I mean, at least fighting for some sort of rifle. Scuba definitely the best bet when it comes down to who's going to be able to use that, but not a lot of util to put into this round. If anything, Wingman definitely a possibility to try to get the defusal down, maybe giving Vernal some space there, but still isn't able to pick anything up. And we've seen this positioning before. Ziff in such a good, such a good angle to make sure Bruno doesn't do anything about it, but the Wingman set up. And of course, 2 players still left alive. Dapper. Yeah, no reason for them to put their all into this round, especially with the circumstances, but not going to keep the rifle. I guess also having enough for the next round is trying to take away from this team, which is exactly what they will do.
At least getting a few for the scoreboard. Won't really matter too much for the economy, though, at all, because even if they win this round, Core will be able to buy up in the next. I'm not sure if that's what got his ultimate online. If it was, though, that's pretty helpful. Yeah, it was actually. Getting these last couple kills did get him stocked up in enough orbs to get the ultimate available here. Timeout going to be called for Oxygen. They just want to close this thing out now and not waste any more time on Lotus when they've given themselves such a crazy lead.
I thought Verno was drinking a whole... Is that a whole... What is it, like a pint?
He's got the pint of Mountain Dew or something. Oh my god, he's chugging away.
Some freaking way, I guess.
Juice. He's going.
Dude, he's not so.
Oh my god, bro.
Jeez.
The hydration station is.
I don't blame him. Honestly, if they start winning, I'm gonna say it's that. Like, I think he was just thirsty. I think they win now.
If we get a tech pause, it's definitely because he sprinted to the bathroom. God damn.
This goes here.
All right, Dapper's gonna set up on C with the trips.
There.
Oxygen gonna early fight on A. They've got that nade for back rubble, expecting the TP across or the satchel across, but it's not gonna come.
Oh my goodness. Looking to turn things around. I am afraid because Redux is just hating that by themselves. I mean, Mitch kind of was prepped up to help out, but there really wasn't any refrag potential in case something did go wrong. Are going to back off though. Oxygen keeping themselves safe for now.
Nowhere to run!
Early Hunter's Fury gonna come out here. But just actually out of range. Redux there way deep onto the A site, so no value gonna be found.
Oh man, and they waited so long.
Yeah, it did. Noise and tree. Oxygen are happy again to really rotate heavily towards A when noise is made here, though this time they have left Dapper on C, where he still has one trip available to play off of. Good re-clear.
Man, at the end of the day, Zeldris definitely was that, like, convincing factor.
Left.
Hey, they might push A, but regardless, they still did lose one. So now you kind of gotta sort out your losses and see what you can do next. Already a back off from Snarly, though, especially as majority of Oxygen trying to find themselves over towards B. They know they're close. All they have to do is work for it. 22 seconds left until that recon dart comes back, and not to mention Clove now. They're on their way. The right-hand side, left-hand side coming down towards B, but of course that first one being taken down, and Wingman giving false hope that somebody was stunned, and leading to the amount of people getting taken down off of Oxygen. So now they just have to try to reconvene and find themselves some space. Scuba doing a great job at giving themselves a reposition. But the util too much, and 6 seconds left until the smoke can even be placed, and even then it's just way too long of a chance there. Yeah, Jiggle peek in, and it's Ziff to make sure Core are not going to be put down into that match point.
Yeah, unwinnable there for Scuba. And that post-plant retake got really awkward for Oxygen. Frankly, it was kind of lucky that Mitch even got that first one. He was swinging out alone. The other two had other ideas of what they wanted to do in that situation. But still, 3 players funneled up in heaven. It's going to be so hard to actually get out of that door, and that was the case. They just got bogged down in that choke. Oxygen have enough cash for the buy, and at this point, they've got a few ultimates just from build up over the round losses, getting kills. So you have to think that they can close this game out with a big all-round.
If anything, now has to be the time to do something about it, too. They have so many ultimates left on the board as well to just give them this round. So there aren't any excuses. Biggest counter, I guess, could be Snarly taking up some of that space with the Viper's Pit, but not even close. I mean, to the setup that they're about to push for. Over on C, so much damage made, and Scuba's just watching as Eldris goes down.
No other players from Core able to get in off that. And it looks like Oxygen may finally be able to get a defensive round on the board, an inch closer to closing this out. Not a whole lot of map control here for Core. They've at least worked up towards C. Ziff is just trying to poke and prod in, trying to take a duel to even things up.
Oh. Scuba has nothing.
30 seconds left.
At that point, Ziff has tried to take up space, and now finally the Viper's Pit makes its way down, but 25 seconds left, and the A site cleared up to a T for the side of Core. This fake is huge.
Core have done a really good job at manipulating the defensive rotates. Several rounds now, they've been able to get into a site that is completely unguarded.
Now they're looking for some sort of recollection. And it could be easy. Scuba, again, does have the resurrection, the not dead yet, so could it come out? Potentially, yes. I think here they might not even need it. Redux definitely knowing where these players are hiding as they hid there before, and now the ultimate comes down, and they finalize their victory down into that match point. Ziff is still fighting for their lives, though. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Time is of the essence, and it's Redux to take things down to that match point.
Oxygen not playing games there, going swiftly, using their ultimates to close this out. And wow, surprisingly, I didn't even notice because they had won so many rounds.
Yeah.
The Core's economy is actually pretty boomed. They're going to have a tough buy on what might be their last round of the game. I love the pace here from Oxygen. As soon as they get that kill onto Nerve, they really burst back into the site effectively with those satchels, with the showstopper, quickly with the thrash to get into tree. Nicely coordinated.
They haven't put an aggressive approach into their gameplay on the defense yet, which is interesting because they've lost so many times trying to get that retake in. I guess now just getting more used to it.
Redux has only got a judge on this round, posted up towards B main. Mitch one away from the Rolling Thunder, could be pivotal here. Just ready with that aftershock in case the door gets opened.
Takes 1 second to start a mountain of action that's already taken place, and now honestly they just need to keep spraying, and it's game over. Oxygen close things out with a spectacular 13-6, and man, it feels good.
That was clinical in the last round from Oxygen. Verno just backing up and throwing all of his util. Oh, and he's gone because my man definitely sprinted to the bathroom after that game with the amount he was chugging. He was literally gone on his camera. We know what's up. But dude, that was such great last round. He just backed up, threw all of his utility out, instant swings from Mitch and Dapper off the Dizzy. That was super nice from those three anchoring down that site. But again, it's just like the first game. It just comes down to the attack half. One team just owns on attack. The other team, they make a fake comeback on their attack. And then the team that gets a million rounds on attack just end up slowly closing it out. Literally, we've seen this story over and over all day.
It has kind of felt like that, yeah, dude. But oh my gosh, if it just happens the same way where Oxygen just kind of roll with the punches in the first half, I don't even know what I'm gonna be able to say, because I feel like from the beginning we knew what the turnout was gonna be. They just looked so strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to incorporate Clove in their gameplay moving forward.
I hope to see more of it, honestly. It was really fun. It was fun to watch Scuba just run around and take fights and
Dude,
put
Scuba
smokes
was
down after he died.
Scuba was owning, but I know the analyst desk likes to own with their predictions and their analyst ding as well. That was so perfect. I did that amazingly. We'll see you guys right after this break.
Face.